Michigan, to me, what's holding them back, it's not the roster. I think right now it's coaching. And that's the traditional, Shemba, we're going to run the football down your throat. Make teams think twice. Run more play action, more motion, more deception, pre-snap. You do that, you're going to start winning more games. Jeff, does Michigan have enough to compete for a national championship?
I don't think so. Although it's, it's, especially in the world of college football, it's you could argue it's wide open. You look at Alabama, and you look at Bryce Young and an injury he has with his shoulder. Georgia is now coming into their own, but they've been struggling the last couple of weeks. I get all of that. But the reality is, it's not even about national championship. Can Michigan beat Ohio State is probably the number one thing for me. Because if you can go and beat Ohio State, I think that's when the expectations can kind of shift. Right now, they're just focused on Penn State. I mean, you got to get through Penn State at this point. If you just want to compare Michigan and Ohio State, the differences I see, especially, we'll just start with running back depth. Blake Corum has been excellent this year. But the question I have is, can you ride Blake Corum to a national championship run? And like Ohio State, they have two good backs. They have multiple good receivers. They have depth everywhere. And I think that's what Michigan lacks as well. And defensively, they don't have those marquee players like last year, at least not yet. They have a collection of guys. You can get to the quarterback by group effort. I mean, Mike Morris has shown things. But overall, I just don't think they have the depth. And for JJ in his first season starting, to expect him to take this team all the way to the national championship, although, yeah, anything can happen. I just don't see it. So for me, Adam, I'm going to say no because they just don't have the depth other teams have. Now, if you beat Ohio State, you prove me wrong, we can have a conversation. How likely is it? Where do they match up? But as of right now, I'm just concerned about Penn State this week, Adam. I mean, if they got to beat Penn State and continue to show, because as of right now, who you beat? You went to Iowa, you beat Iowa, it was an impressive victory, but that doesn't move me to push Michigan into a national, contender conversation. So right now, I don't know if they have the talent overall. I mean, even offensively, they got weapons, Ronnie Bell, Luke Schoonmaker, but I mean, Ohio State, it's just a different animal. I mean, every team, especially the Georgias, Alabamas, I mean, maybe Alabama you can make the argument, but Ohio State, I mean, you got guys. So that would probably be the difference for me, Adam. And defensively, I don't think they've shown to be a dominant defense. They've shown to be a very good defense. But I think the big test for me, go out and beat Penn State. And at the end of the year, when you face Ohio State, well, you got to take care of Michigan State, by the way. And then when you get to Ohio State, if they could put up a fight and or beat Ohio State, I think that's when the conversation should start. I think people saying they could win it right now is just too premature for me, Adam. It really is. Just looking at strictly the roster. Although you have the quarterback, the dynamic quarterback, is this a team where you could put everything on JJ's shoulders and he can go out and beat a team? I mean, that's the question I have. I think he can do it, but he just hasn't shown it yet. So I'm waiting on that. This week, Penn State, very good against the run. If they stop Blake Corum and JJ can pull you to a victory, you might have the quarterback to overcome those things. But right now, they haven't proved to me yet. And my gut says no, if I'm being honest with you.
I think there are championship qualities about Michigan. Mm-hmm. Their defensive front, I think it's only going to get better as the season progresses. Let's start there. J.J. McCarthy, people like me and anyone else, whoever it may be, that campaigned for J.J. as long as we have, it was for this very reason. Hey, I don't think you can win a national title dinking and dunking.
Right.
The dink and dunk, the underneath, the check down, the 10 of 11 for 57 yards. You can't. And what we've seen with JJ is the Michigan offense really hasn't opened up. They missed Roman Wilson over the weekend. Not having any screen action, play action. Again, are they saving it? I don't see it. I don't see that Michigan is holding back the playbook for later on in the year. That doesn't make sense to me.
No, they gave him some shots.
It doesn't make sense from a coaching standpoint. I don't see enough play action. What does Michigan do well? They run the ball. Yes, cool. What is one of the hardest things to defend against? The play action. Why? Especially when the team is running the ball effectively. Yep. Mm-hmm. You had Blake Corum go for what, 100 yards? You didn't run play action maybe once? Michigan, to me, what's holding them back from being a legitimate national contender, it's not the roster. I think right now it's coaching.
Scheme.
I don't like how they're lining up on offense. They're predictable. They have 5, 6, 7, maybe 8 sets that they go to, and you know what's coming. And that's the traditional, Schembechler. We're going to run the football down your throat. That works against the really bad teams. It worked against Ohio State last year. Great. Do you see what Ohio State looked like right now?
Oh, dude.
See what Georgia looked like right now?
It's track stars.
Bama are winning without Bryce Young. A lot of good teams in college
Ohio
football.
State's winning without Jackson Smith, the Jigma. So
a lot of good teams in college football. Clemson, USC undefeated. A lot of good teams. Tennessee coming up. They may beat Bama this weekend. Michigan needs to be able to move the ball downfield through the air. I'm not saying it's your priority one. Your priority one should always be to establish the run, Blake Corum, Donovan Edwards. But why did we talk about J.J. McCarthy? Not because he was cute or he could run with the ball a little bit more. Because he could drive the ball downfield, he had the arm strength, and he showed the accuracy. Cool. You've seen it in glimpses this year. Cool. But Michigan have to open up their playbook for me to even take them as national contenders. And again, they got a tough matchup against Penn State, who honestly match up very well against what Michigan likes to do. You want to talk about a team that's going to balance out what Michigan does? If Penn State stops the run, you're looking at JJ and saying, dude, go win us this football game. Because that's what it's going to come down to.
Yeah.
And not with your legs, kid. You got Ronnie Bell, Roman Wilson, Andrell Anthony, Donovan Edwards out of the backfield. You have weapons. Cornelius Johnson, you have weapons. The Michigan offense, in my opinion, are in a better spot than they were last year. The defense, I think, are in a better spot than they were last year. I think Michigan right now is better than they were last year. But the offense needs to take that next step. And I'm not telling you go full air raid offense. But do me a favor. Run more play action. Get JJ out of the pocket.
Yeah.
Don't make him just drop back and make decisions. No, get him out of the pocket, get him moving, and have him make 1, 2, 3. That's it. Make it super simple. Go look at what the Giants are doing with Brian Daboll right now. They're lining up 7 guys in protection, looking like a run, heavy play action. He rolls out.
Boom.
And he's got an underneath route, an intermediate, and a deep route. Simple decision. If it's not there, take off and run. If you can't run, throw it away. Wow. Super simple. Keep it simple. I'm not asking for the air raid. What I am asking for, though, expand the offense a little bit.
Open it up.
Have some misdirection. Make teams think twice. Run more play action. Is Michigan holding back their playbook? I don't think so. I think this is just the way they play. My recommendation would be more play action, more motion, more deception, pre-snap. You do that, you're going to start winning more games.
And even for a school like Georgia, I mean, who loves to run the football, Stetson Bennett is currently top 10 in passing yards. Like, think about that for a second. Top 10 in passing yards, Stetson Bennett. Now, he doesn't have as many touchdowns as J.J. McCarthy, but this is a guy who can throw for 300 yards, and J.J. just did that last week. So, still, early stages, doesn't mean J.J. can't get up there, but you're right. You got to open up the playbook, and a lot of that is, J.J. struggled to hit those guys downfield, so you got to get in a rhythm. But overall, I'm with you. I mean, you got to... I mean, if you look around college football, the teams that are expected to make the college football playoff, even a team like USC, just night and day difference in terms of their offense. Yeah, you can run the football, but they can also, throw all over you. The same with Stetson Bennett. Say what you want about him. So I think it's a great point, Adam. I think offensively, they're right now, it's not like they're limited. They have the talent. It's just philosophy, and that kind of has been Michigan's MO for a long, long time. So I don't see them changing that. Maybe that ties back to me saying I don't think they'll win a national championship, at least this year.
Look, when we talk about winning a national championship, that's so much, right? But Do I think they can beat Ohio State? Given Ohio State's current version, I would put my money on Ohio State and Columbus.
Yeah, me too.
But I do think we're at a point where Ohio State and Michigan, it's not the gap it used to be. Now, do I still think there's a gap between Ohio State and Michigan at the moment? Yeah, I do. You can see it. I think they're the best team in the country. But that doesn't mean you can't beat them, because you do things they don't do well. You have tendencies that could really disrupt the flow of their offense. You have a pass rush that can get after a quarterback who loves to sling it, right? A lot of good things here. I find it difficult to sit here and say I am confident that they are national champions, or contenders. But I also have to sit back and say, you got the quarterback. It looks like you have a competent defense. Good enough. You've done well to replace Ojabo and Hutchinson. You haven't missed a beat. If anything, you're on pace to have a better season than you did last year. The offense needs to expand more. You give me more of what I'm telling you about, Jeff, I'm sitting up here saying that's a college football playoff team easily. And I think they could go to Columbus and beat Ohio State, even at their own game.
You're going to have to keep up offensively, so you're right about that. If you go to Ohio State and you beat them,
you're going to have to put up 35,
you're going to have to put up
38.
Points. Yeah.
That's the reality. And is Ohio State's defense daunting? No.
I would say they're about similar defenses. Maybe
I would give the edge to Michigan. I
because
would.
Ohio State has a decent defense. I mean, they both haven't played. It's hard to judge a defense.
First year defensive coordinator, though, right? In the new system.
It's hard to judge a defense when you haven't played. I think Michigan might have a slightly harder schedule than Ohio State, but
Cody in the Woodward Sports Chat brings up a very good point. You can't expand an offense that has yet to change since Jim was hired.
And that's with different offensive coordinators, by the way, too. Like Josh Gaddis, he won, a coordinator of the year. I mean, he was nominated and still did not matter. The offense wasn't that much different, but this has been their MO.
Hollywood says, I want to see what Jackson State can do against Michigan. I'll tell you, they'll lose by 100. Cool. Glad we agree.
Deion Sanders is over there. Talk about it spreading out the offense.
What is it?
Talk about opening up the offense. Deion's over there playing Madden, dude. They're just his son's quarterback.
His son is playing
throwing
very well.
Yeah, he's ridiculous. But they are playing like community colleges, and
Yeah, look, again, it's awesome what they're doing, but yeah, Michigan would kill them 100-0.
Yeah, it's different.
JJ McCarthy would look like the second coming of Jesus.